Hello everyone, and welcome to another one of my sketchbook flip-throughs. Today, we're going back in time. Gotta get back to the past. Samurai Jack. Okay, so we're going back to April 2016. I started this on the 3rd and finished this on the 27th. So it's been quite a while, and I know that I will be cringing while I look at these drawings. So let's begin anyway. This is a bunch of character studies from this manga and anime series called Ginga Densetsu Weed. Yes, you've heard it right. His name is Weed. So the premise behind this series is that it's like this story about these battle-hardened dogs. It's like this surprisingly manly and violent and gritty story about these hard-boiled hunting dogs, and some of these dogs can do these special attacks where they jump in the air and spin like Sonic the Hedgehog. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like, no way, like that's just too ridiculous. It can't exist. And no, it's an actual series, and I loved it. Especially back in middle school, I remember drawing a bunch of these crazy dogs. And I was looking back at my previous influences and inspirations, and I thought of the series, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I wonder how I feel about it now. So I decided to do some character studies of some of my favorite dogs in that series. So that's what that is. And we open up to a bunch of studies. And there's just going to be pages upon pages of studies, and I remember because it was so painful and strenuous to do. So yeah, it's just going to be a bunch of stuff like this, like different expressions, heads at different angles, and then we open up to a bunch of butts. You know you're off to a great start when you open up your sketchbook and see a bunch of butts staring back at you. So yeah, these are female butts, you can tell because the hips kind of flare out like that. There are some male butts in here somewhere, so I can show you the difference between male and female butts if you are interested. So yeah, more butts. Butts are actually pretty important to understand because especially when you're doing action scenes and just working with acrobatic characters, because you know legs attach to the joints here, so understanding how to draw butts and pelvises and all that good stuff is actually a pretty good skill to have. Okay, and then we're getting into arms. Yeah, these aren't very detailed. I'm just trying to get the basic shapes and construction down. And these are obviously studies. And the original drawings were done by this Japanese artist on Pixiv. The name is not coming to me right now, but it's really everywhere. Like you can just Google, like you can just search for stuff like this on Google. Like it's like a bunch of tutorials / reference pages. Like it's really everywhere, so I'm sure you'll be able to find some just by searching on Google. And yeah, I'm just trying to memorize all these lines and stuff. God, it's just like school all over again. So yeah, there's more of that. More studies. More studies. More studies. More. Oh, and like these horrible heads. Yeah, more of these studies. Oops. Yeah, and then we're going into legs. Yeah, and then these are the male butts, and you can tell because the hips kind of like go straight down and even inwards. The guys have this sort of a V shape to their pelvic hips area because our reproductive anatomy is quite different. Yeah, so some more butts. And then some more studies. More studies. More studies. Can't stop, won't stop. More studies. More. Some more. And then we're getting into some Hatsune Miku. Yeah. And this is my dark Namekian character, Colas. And we're getting back onto the Ginga Densetsu stuff. You know, the style, I think it's pretty appealing. It's like this realistic, but it has this cartoony edge to it. But I don't know, like sometimes the artist kind of draws these dogs super stiff, and I know that dogs are supposed to be stiff, like they're not like cats, they're not supposed to be super flexible, but sometimes in some shots, like the dogs looked like they were suffering from rigor mortis, but like they were clearly alive, so that kind of threw me off, but it's okay, like it's not really a big deal. And I liked how the artist kind of drew the muzzles of the dogs. I like the lines he put here to kind of delineate that like this side of the nose is kind of flat. Yeah, some more of those. And one other thing that kind of bothered me was that he would draw these dogs licking their noses and lips a lot, and that's kind of a behavior that dogs do when they are nervous or being submissive. And the problem was that the dog characters would be doing this while delivering some kind of like really cool and inspiring speech, or like doing something really awesome, or like really hardcore, and like they'd be licking their noses and lips, and like you know that's pretty contradictory. So that kind of threw me off too, like. But that's okay, it didn't really distract from me enjoying the series, especially back as a middle schooler. Yeah, I still think it's a pretty solid series. Yeah, some more of those, some more of that, and yeah. I also wanted to do some, look into the differences between male and female dog skulls. So we kind of delved into this on the previous video with the cows and the bulls, but like here are some Dobermans and here are some Golden Retrievers. So, you know, like I said before, like the females, their skulls kind of tend to be a lot more smooth and like delicate, whereas the males, they tend to be a lot more clunkier and kind of heavy, a lot more angular and solid looking, probably from the testosterone. And yeah, I wanted to do some dark Namekian characters, because like when you get into Xenoverse, and even back then on Dragon Ball Online, they had all these variations with the antennae, and I'm like, that's dumb. I gotta draw that. So that's what I did, and they came out pretty stupid, but that's all my fault. I just really think that it was interesting how they added all these variations for Namekians, you know, starting from the skin color to like these antennae shapes, because like on the original series, like pretty much a lot of the Namekians were pretty much uniform, like not much variation going on, so I really appreciated seeing that. Here's Blaze. This is like a younger Blaze, I believe. Maybe she's a teen here. I'm not particularly sure. But some more Blazes, and then like here's some hands. And then, oh, I was really into Lupin back here. I mean, I still am into Lupin the Third, but this was around the time when that new installation came out. That Italian one where they had a clone of Leonardo da Vinci. Like, what were they thinking? But I love that season. It was so awesome. Like, have you seen the opening? Like, it's just, the animation is just so fluid and like amazing, and I really enjoyed that season of Lupin the Third. Yeah, some more Blazes, and then here's a Colas. Oh my gosh, it looks so bad. And then like some older Rodas, which I think I did a worse job at those. I'm so sorry, kiddo. And then some more Blazes, and then some Cammy, because once upon a time she was older than Veruda, and then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. No, not really. Now she is around the same age as Veruda. Yeah, and then these are just all, you know, drawings with a lot more freedom. These aren't really studies. I just got to do whatever the heck I wanted, and that's why these pages went by much faster than the earlier pages when I did a bunch of studies, because like when I'm doing studies, I'm like, these lines need to be perfect, these proportions need to be perfect, like no mistakes are allowed, like, why can't I do this right, like what is wrong with me? And I would just be raging internally while I go through those, and it just takes a lot of time because I'm like so hyper focused there. So yeah, like, studies and exercises. To be quite honest with you, it's really not that fun for me. So I kind of have to balance it out with all these other pages where I get to do whatever the heck I want, because like that, now that's fun. That's really fun. That's why I draw to begin with. But I know that I need to do those exercises and studies. So what I like to do is I kind of like to strike a sort of healthy balance between the two. So like for some pages would be reserved for studies and serious like exercises and stuff like that, whereas the rest of the pages go towards me de-stressing from all that mental abuse from the other pages, from the studies and all that, so I don't go insane. I can't afford to get even crazier than I am right now, so that's why yeah, you need a break now and then to keep the fun alive while drawing. So that's what it was. Here is me playing around with Cammie's hair, like what can I do with her hair? And then here's some more older Barudas, like poor kid. It's okay, in the later sketchbooks he starts looking much better than this. And over here I did some storyboard studies, and these are like more of the older TV dimensions, because older television, like the screens used to be a lot more square, whereas like what we have now is generally like more catered towards the wide screen, and sort of like the feature film, that kind of dimension. So like, it's a lot more wider and shorter height-wise, but I kind of wanted to stick to the old school TV dimensions because I'm a crotchety old lady, and I really wanted to be able to fit 2 boards on like each side of the page, because my OCD is getting in the way again, and oh man, it's like a lifelong struggle. So that's what these were, just a bunch of boards. Some more, and these are exploratory sketches. I thought it'd be kind of interesting to have like a character who is a descendant of, if you remember the Red Ribbon Army arc from the early Dragon Ball, General Black. I thought that maybe it'd be kind of fun to have like a character who's related to him, but like make her a female. And I was trying to like figure out how would she look like. Should I give her like a full-blown afro, or like should I keep her hair short and curly? So these are just really rough sketches, tentative sketches, just exploring designs, possible designs. And I'm not so sure if I can fit her into the story, because like, with all these new information coming out, we have Dragon Ball Super, we have Xenoverse, we have Dragon Ball Heroes, and like all these crazy spin-offs. Like sometimes I can't keep up. I'm not sure if I can squeeze her in there, but it'd be nice if I could. And then, I kind of wanted to look into the more sassy side of Colas, like his personality. And so I kind of had him like stand against a door frame and like just like giving you that look, like that disapproving and like judgmental and annoyed look, like what are you doing? And yeah, like again, he doesn't really look like Colas per se, but the personality's there, so I can tell that this is Colas, even though he doesn't really look like Colas. This one's really cute. I should have kept his blush lines purple and not red, but oh well, that one looks really cute. And then, oh my gosh, Blaze's hair was giving me a really hard time. So I'd be turning her around like to the right, like by a few degrees, and then I'd be like spinning around to the left by like a couple more degrees or so, and like from the top, from the bottom, like there just was no consistency, and that bugged me so much. So what I decided to do was like, okay, like we're going to settle this once and for all, right here, right now. So I decided to do some revisions, like some hair design revisions, and this isn't the one that I really stuck with, but now I have sort of a formula that I abide by, and oh my gosh, that makes things so much more easier for me. And like now there's some sort of logical consistency, so like much better than what I had before, but like I'm not sure how long that's going to last, but yeah, it's what I have for now, and it's working for me, so that's good. Yeah, some more places, and then some more collages again. Oh man, these look so bad. These don't even look like him, but I can tell that it is him because, you know, like his personality sort of shines through. And oh my gosh, past me, you gotta like get yourself together. And then this is like this particular drawing. I remember like doing this like, a couple of years ago on an older sketchbook, and after I drew this I was like, oh man, like why does that look so familiar? So I looked back some older sketchbooks and like there it was. And yeah, it's just crazy how your brain sort of recycles and retains a lot of the drawings and like ideas you have. So like a couple of years later you'd be drawing and like it would pop back up again, and then without you being even conscious of it. Like it's so crazy. It's like some kind of deja vu on like a whole another level. Yeah, that happens to me often, and this is so confusing. And here is like a bunch of crappy sketches. And this is a character from an original story, some kind of personal project that I was working on back in high school. And I'm so glad that I can do these characters a lot more justice now, because after improving my draftsmanship and getting a bit more serious with art and trying to get my fundamentals down and all that great stuff. So I can't wait to go back to working on this because I really love my characters. And we end with Colas. Here was me trying to figure out what I wanted to do with his clothes. Like, do I want the bottom of his robe to go around his legs, or do I want to leave some room open so that his legs could like, his pants could like peek through? And I like this one, but I decided to go with this because I know that he'd be moving around a lot, and I just wanted to be a good mom and keep things comfortable for him. So yeah, that's that. And here is a dinosaur because I could always use more dinosaurs in my life. And that's it. Oh, by the way, these were pretty much all done in colored pencil. And this is another Moleskine sketchbook. This one is a Volant. So I really like these. Like the covers are super buttery and like smooth, and these are some of my favorite sketchbooks to work on. So yeah, that's it for now. I have other sketchbook videos coming up. I know that I haven't been really on top of things. I'm still getting used to this whole YouTube thing, so yeah. Thanks for bearing with me, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you on the next video. See ya!